documenting the journey. Welcome back. I'm here in Bali. On this channel, I document my journey building my brand, Exchange Life. We sell custom merchandise, and in the last 30 days, we did 123,000 euros in sales, which is 90% up from the previous 30 days before that. In the first part of this video, I will talk to you guys about the brand, the good and the bad, everything that I'm doing to get this uplift. And in the second part, it's my life outside of the brand. So join me on my journey to 10 million a year. So let's get right into it. The first point, I had a conversation with my friend this week, kind of thinking about what level of talent I should hire to get my brand to the ceiling that it's supposed to go to. So for example, every vehicle has a different ceiling, right? I told you guys before, I think my brand can get to 10 million, maybe to 5. We'll see if I can keep scaling from 5, then I'll go to 10. But I think behind that, it's going to be really hard because it's really niche. My brand doesn't really solve a problem. There is no subscription. There's no high AOV. Like I'm fighting an uphill battle. So this means that my ceiling is lower than, for example, a brand that talks to a very wide range of people. Let's say Athletic Greens. Everybody can use supplements, right, for vitamins. And also they have a very high LTV because they have subscriptions. So anyways, their ceiling is way higher. And to get to their ceiling, their level of talent is also required to be higher because their business is more complicated, they need more media buying, there's more scale, like all of this, the level of talent that they need to get to their ceiling is higher. Whereas for my vehicle, my brand, maybe I only need, for example, a junior media buyer to get to the ceiling of my brand, which is, for example, 2,000 euros a month, instead of an agency that costs 5,000 euros per month for my friend's brand that can get to way higher scales than 10 million a year, which is an interesting learning that I didn't think before, because I was thinking maybe I should hire exactly the same people as my friends' brands that are like growing way past 10 million a year. But then we kind of talked about it, and then we're like, wait, your brand is way more complicated. Many different offers, many different AOVs. So maybe you need a higher level of talent that I need for my brand to get to the ceiling, which I think is true. So anyways, I'm now trying to think, who do I need to hire at what level to get to the ceiling of the brand? So recently I've leveled up a lot in my, I think, headspace and false beliefs about being an operator of an e-com brand. And I've been learning a lot. And I think this is a major thing that I think I can hire, for example, for a media buyer, a junior media buyer, and get to the highest level. That might be a position I hire soon, I don't know, but this is just in general, I think, true for the brand. Next point, the site is almost done. So I told you guys in previous videos that I am building a new site. The whole site is going to be different. It's all going to be custom coded. Some guy commented on last video that it isn't hard coded. I don't know. Anyways, you know what I mean. It's going to be coded. All of the custom options are going to be there. We had some delays with the agency, but I think that we're almost there. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that, because the offer on the front end is going to be way more accessible for many more people. And now it still feels kind of niche when you get to the site. Some people don't really know who this is for, what the brand is, and there's just many objections that we're going to tackle with the new site. So I hope that this way the target addressable market increases, because the offer seems wider on the front end, which of course means that I can scale more, the conversion rate might be higher, everything will just be better. So I'm really looking forward for that. Maybe like another month or so for the development, but the design is basically there. Then the next point that I wrote down was misaligned incentives with agencies is a big thing, especially if you're paying them a fixed retainer or a fixed fee. For example, you might send out emails with an email agency every month, and you pay them every month the same price, 3,000 euros per month. They want to do as little as possible to keep you on board, right? Because if they do as little as possible, that means they spend as little time as possible on your brand, which means their profit margins are as high as possible. So I kind of realized that an agency either only operates to the level of the vehicle or to the level of the operator. Because, for example, I can hire the same agency as my friend, but if his vehicle, if his brand, if his product market fit, if his product is way better than mine, then that same agency might perform shitty for my brand, but really good for his brand. And it's not really about the skill, it's about the vehicle. So that is one. Or about the skill of the operator. I kind of realized that this week that you also have to give feedback to agencies, because if you just let them be, because you're like, it's a professional agency, they know what they're doing, then they're going to do as little as possible, which means that they're going to not deliver as high work as you want. So you really need to be on it as an operator as well. And if you suck as an operator at, for example, creatives and you hire a creative agency, then they only perform to the level as you are because they will do as little work as possible. You don't know how to give feedback, and then they will perform to the level of the operator. So it's either one of the two. And then if you first know how to do something and then hire an agency, then you can kind of keep them to a high standard. And then if you know that you perform better than them before, then you know they're full of shit, because that means that you are doing it better than them, which is possible. It's not your vehicle, it's just them doing the work that isn't very good. So yeah, I kind of realized this week, because at first, I hired the creative agency and I was like, all right, I'm paying them a lot. I'll just let them be. And then whatever they say is probably right. And then I realized, like, okay, this and this and this and this and this I would have done differently for like the 4th batch. So let me actually give feedback. And then the batch that came after the feedback performed better than the batches before, which means that, hey, I do know kind of what I'm doing as well, right? So that was just an interesting learning that I learned this week. I'm hiring an email agency this week, or an email person. I'm paying a lot of opportunity cost right now because I'm not doing any campaigns. So I'm just doing flows, which I set up last year. If you go back to my Barcelona videos, I spent my whole time in Barcelona just making email flows. They're still running, so they're doing about 21% of revenue, which is good, but I'm not doing any campaigns. So I'm leaving a lot of money on the table, which means that I'm paying opportunity costs right now, which means that I rather pay an expensive agency or a more premium person to just solve it right now and do my campaigns and then figure it out how I can optimize down the costs. Then wait and not do it at all, and then pay that opportunity cost in the meanwhile. So hiring an email agency soon to solve that problem. So I'm seeing some success with scaling the testing ad sets. I told you guys before that now I run an ABO to test new concepts every week with variations on each concept. And then the winners from there get duplicated into the scaling campaign. And I was seeing some success in some of the testing ad sets, but then when I scaled them, kind of the performance dropped. And I thought it was a creative problem, because when the creative is good enough, I thought you can just scale the testing ad set and it will still be profitable, which is the case. So I'm seeing some success now with scaling the testing ad sets as well, and they stay profitable before that creative that is a winner gets spent in the scaling campaign, which is great, because then you can still get that skill that it doesn't get in the scaling campaign, because it takes a while there to pick up. So cool to see that my idea there was right, how it is a creative problem often and not any other problem. I think in e-com in general, often it is a creative problem. So just an interesting insight. Google is actually starting to perform a bit better. So I told you guys before that Google was doing pretty shit, but yeah, I don't know. Now it's starting to be a bit better. So we're mainly doing PMAX, but I think we need more good high-end content for the video placements of PMAX. So I think that will still be, there's still a lot of room for improvement, but it's cool to see that it is doing a bit better, because if you get Google to work, you have like a consistent driver of revenue, which is really cool. And yeah, it's just something that was happening this week. I send out products for a high-end photo shoot. So finally, I found someone that can help me with new product content for the website, the new website, but also for the ads, because I will make sure that somebody goes with the photo shoot that will record anything. So we will have some more high-end ad instead of just images or UGC. So that will be interesting to see how that performs. I'm looking forward for those results. Also for the new website, we have like a really clear vibe now and branded thing that we're looking for throughout the whole website, throughout all of the product photos and content on the website. So yeah, that will just make it feel more like a premium brand. And then I'm looking into Etsy. So one of my friends had a jewelry brand before, and they were doing Etsy at some point, and he was like, hey, why don't you do Etsy? And I've looked into it before, but yeah, my beliefs back then were still kind of different. So I was like, let me get an Etsy coach and then learn how to do Etsy myself. But the thing is, it doesn't work like this, and I can really just focus on a few things that are highest leverage for me. There's only that many hours in the day, right? So I'm just gonna hire someone now to set up the Etsy store and run and optimize that, and then see how it performs. It will probably pay for itself, so that's fine. And then I'm kind of figuring out how I really complete a killer in-house system for creatives. Who do I need? What do I do? What systems do I set up? Because yeah, I'm still currently outperforming the creative agency. Let's see how that goes. But if it stays this way, then I might as well systemize how I make ads myself for an in-house team, and then get more winners and for a cheaper price as well. So yeah, I kind of think now that I probably need like a copywriter. Let's see what I wrote down: creative director, graphic designer, video editor, and then an AI input. I think with these things, you can create a pretty good system, churning out like 30 ads a week, maybe. Let's see, but I think those are the team players that I need for an in-house creative system. We already have the graphic designer and video editor. I would need someone with AI skills that can create like AI scenes with jewelry and stuff like this. I think those ads could perform because they're kind of like shitty ads. And then the creative director comes up with ideas, spies on competitors for different ad IDs, and kind of manages the creators to request the right footage. And then the copywriter comes up with new angles and scripts that sell, etc. But the creative director, for me, I think will be the first hire, because I think I'm now still the bottleneck in our creative system, which is I'm not the best at like managing the creators and requesting the footage and following up. Like, I don't enjoy this. I'm more of a creative. So I need someone to manage this. So I think that will be the first hire in that system, because I need to get out of the way. I'm the bottleneck right now, right there. So I need to solve that as soon as possible. Yeah, and then a more general point that I wrote down is that the vehicle that you're in is so important. So if I look at the people around me that are doing very well and are crushing it with their brand, they took time to research what they're going to do with their brand, found something that they thought would work, or multiple things, tested multiple things until they saw what worked best, and then went all in on that. Whereas I kind of just rolled into my brand, and then my vehicle has a very low potential, relatively, right? 10 million a year might be still very big for you, but if you look at other brands that are like 8-figure, 9-figure brands, and it's not big compared to that, right? And this is because the vehicle that you're in is so important. And for me, it's fine right now because I'm still learning, like I'm becoming a higher level operator. So until I'm like bored of it or not learning anymore, I'll move on to like a big thing. But if you want to get to the high, you see these guys online that are doing all of these big numbers, and it's because they picked the right product that has the potential to do big numbers. If I'm trying to sell custom jewelry with maps on there, good luck trying to get to 100 million a year. It's just not going to cut it. So, of course, in the beginning, you just need to start. But then at some point where you get more experienced, picking the right vehicle that has the right opportunity for your ambitions or wherever you need to go is so important if you want to go to the higher levels. Because with my brands, it's going to be physically impossible to get there. So yeah, that's just an interesting thing that I thought about and observed from the people around me. Another more general thing that I wrote down is that product market fit, word of mouth, and personal brand are like 3 invisible powers that work in your favor. It's a complete random point. But if you have product market fit, any person can turn on an ad for your brand and it will be profitable. And of course, you can find product market fit, but also some products just have product market fit and they might get lucky. For example, picking the right product with the right angle. But anyways, if you find that, it's like an invisible thing that will work in your favor, just as word of mouth is. If you have positive word of mouth for your brand, your organic orders will go up. And you're like, wait, why is my organic revenue up 200% versus, I don't know, months before? And it's because people are sharing it with 2 people, and those 2 people are sharing it for 2 people. And then personal brand is also an interesting thing because you leverage yourself, you put your story out there, people share it with each other. People might reach out to you saying like, hey, do you need help with this? Do you need help with that? You're like, where does this come from? Well, that comes from personal brand. And these 3 things are like invisible powers that work in your favor, that are hard to measure, that I think are good to look for whatever you're doing. So word of mouth, you create by creating a really good product. Product market fit, you find and you do a lot of research and you test. And personal brand is, of course, these videos or in whatever way you can do that. But if you find these 3 things, you're, I think, going to go very far in business. And it's just a random thing that I thought about that I thought I'd share. And then lastly, for this week's Documenting the Journey, it's hard sometimes to document this shit because you get so wrapped in the day-to-day of building the business. So I'm trying to now go through my daily tasks every day and write down, okay, this is what I did today. And then if it's anything interesting, put it into the video notes for this week. Because otherwise I'm at the end of the week like sitting there thinking like, what the fuck do I talk about? So sometimes it's hard because you get lost in the sauce in the day-to-day of building your business. So it is actually a fun reflection exercise because I'm forced to like think and like reflect every day to make an interesting video at the end of the week. But I did realize that I'm not going to force the videos if I feel like I have nothing interesting to tell. That's why this one is a little bit later. Let's get into the personal development part, the life outside of the brand part. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this and learning something, and I'll see you guys next week. Quick one here about my life outside of the brand in this beautiful garden in Bali. I got a message from my little brother. If you're watching this, hello. I have 2 little brothers. Something that really reminded me of what's important, that he messaged me and he was like, hey, Tristan, I miss you a lot. I watched your last video. I'm really proud of you. And I'm like, damn, that hit me, you know? Like one of my main goals is to be the best big brother possible for my 2 little siblings. And these videos, again, I always try to convince you guys to create your own videos. I'm on a mission. I'm out here, I don't know where I am. Like, I'm somewhere in a tropical fucking island. I'm not physically there for my little brothers. But with these videos, I can still be physically there for my little brothers, because what do you really talk about when you call your little brothers or your siblings or your parents once a week? Like, it's kind of, how is it going? Everything is going all right, this and that, right? But here I share everything that is in my mind, my brand, my thoughts, these struggles, shit that I struggle with in my own head, all of the things it's hard to talk to people you care about, right? These, like, sometimes you have these good conversations, but like, I have things every week that are going on, and this way my little brother can watch and learn from me, and I can be a better little brother big brother through my videos, because he can still learn from my thoughts, from who I am, from what I do, even though I'm not there physically to teach him. So then when I come back, he knows exactly what's going on, what am I doing, and then if we can talk about it, like, so the conclusion here is that make videos, but if you don't want to upload them, don't, just don't. Okay, if you don't want to upload them, don't. But still create videos and do it in a way that is comfortable for you. Document your journey in a way that works for you. For example, you might create looms for your team. Create a loom about your business and your random thoughts every week. Put that in a folder, share that folder with the people you care about, because you can have a bigger impact on the people that you care about this way. You can teach them more. You can relate with them more. They can be more involved in your story. This is good for the people that you care about. If you share real shit like this, no content creating bullshit, this shit, it is having a good impact on the people that you care about. So this is why you should document your journey and share your ideas, thoughts, and realizations. Do it for the people you care about. I feel, and I recently realized this, and for me this is a big realization, I just don't know what to do with it, is that a lot of the good and the bad, if you call it the bad, in my life come from the same point, which is that I feel quite insecure sometimes. And I think not even so much I still feel insecure, but more that I used to feel not good enough, and that is kind of hard programmed in my brain, and that a lot of the good and the bad in my life come from that same point. Let me explain this to you guys. So when I was younger, I was always younger in school than my peers, and I never really felt like I belonged there. And I felt, that I wasn't cool enough to go to places. I either didn't get an invite for this place, or friends didn't really want to hang out with me. And I think that kind of left an impression on me back then. I remember being very sad about it always, of like, I'm not good enough. They don't want me there. I'm not funny enough, or whatever. So that, I think, hard-coded in my brain that I didn't feel good enough amongst peers, which made me feel some sort of insecurity or something, which is where I think now comes the good and the bad, which is the drive that I have. I have a really strong drive comes from, but also the bad. I tend to overthink things, and I think that also comes from that same place. So for me, it's never really a question about discipline, the good. I always get work done. I'm never like unmotivated, like there is no question. And I think this is because I want to prove to myself that I'm good enough. Like if I can answer this question in my head, then it's fine. Like then I don't care what other people say. Like I think the huge drive comes from there, that I try to do everything in my life perfect, because otherwise I question myself, which is why didn't this go perfect? Like then it's kind of goes down that road. So this is toxic, of course, but I think the drive comes from that point of wanting to prove a point. And I think it's to myself and not to other people. But yeah, it's like a train going through cities and fucking ramming through buildings. Like, I just fucking keep going. And that is why I think I should also remind myself sometimes to slow down and really take care of myself. And I talked about the habits previously. I should really do these things, because in the long term, if I skip those things, then I will crash at some point. Like I need to take extra care of myself, because I know I am this way, that I otherwise would just keep going until I physically cannot anymore. So I need to keep that in check, right? That is the good, the drive. That is why I achieve things. That is why I fucking go hard in the gym, eat fucking structured. That's why I achieve things at a young age. But the bad is that I also tend to overthink things. And I was kind of looking at the pattern, like when do I start to overthink things? And then I realized this is also when I get a cue that is hard-coded in my brain that I feel like I'm not good enough. It's not even coming from the other person. The other person, for example, or a thing or occasion or like whatever happened, like they don't even probably think about anything. Like it's just me thinking, oh shit, am I good enough? Oh fuck, like I made a mistake, or I said something wrong, or I said something like out there. I tend to share my opinion. I'm like, oh, like I could have handled that differently. Like, why did I do that? Like, and then I go, and then that is self-sabotage, because then I start to think in situations. And when you think you're not yourself, when you're not yourself, you just are a bit, that's not nice. Like, there is no point of doing that. It's just bad for everything. So also that part comes, I think, from that point of my youth being hard-coded in my brain, where I didn't feel good enough towards myself because of external factors, for example. Now I still, when I kind of get a sense of that, like, am I good enough for this situation or this or that, or then I start to like get that again, like overthinking, okay, what to do, like how to fix this. And when you try to think about that, that's like counterproductive, because you self-sabotage yourself, you don't do the right thing, you're like, yeah, that just doesn't help at all. So somehow I need to like then see and recognize that and act on that, saying like, Tristan, you're bullshitting again, like shut up, like you are. Because yeah, it's just in my own head, like towards myself, I want to somehow, sometimes I talked about this before, be like a Greek statue or something. So whenever something goes wrong, then I am like very pissed at myself, and then I start to overthink it, and it's just like fucking not helpful for anything. So yeah, I don't know what to do with this information, but I just realized this, and I never have seen this. And I think it comes with age, that I start to learn better who I am myself and how to handle things and situations and who I am as a person. Oh, I guess that just comes with age, right? Like I get to know myself better. I realize how to handle these things, but somehow I need to, when I feel like this, act on this, and then not fall into the trap of overthinking. But I'm not sure yet how to do this, but I do now know where it's from. And yeah, I don't know, it's personal, right? But for me, it's a really big realization that I had this week, because one, I think I have like an insane drive that I didn't really know before where it comes from, and two, I have like this overthinking thing that now I saw the pattern of, and now I realize like where it comes from. And maybe that helps me deal better with it, knowing where it comes from. Because it's bullshit. It's in my own head. Like often when I talk with other people about this, they don't even realize this, that's going on in my head. But it's all like made up things in my own head. And then the last point that I wrote down is, recently I've really been hanging around with some really cool people. So I told you guys before that I really struggled with finding the right people, even in environments like Bali. I've been traveling for about 2 years now. I meet a lot of people, a lot of young people that make money, travel, all of this, are free. But I always struggle to kind of relate with them. And I'm kind of looking for the minority of the minority. So in a bubble like this, everyone is a minority, right? For location freedom, like this and that. But most people, young people, are just fucking fast, young money guys, gurus, this and like, I'm so not interesting to me. So I'm really looking for like a creative entrepreneur, or someone that is doing unique shit, all of that type of stuff. And there is not many of them. It's the minority of the minority. David Goggins has a good saying of this, like a rare person amongst rare people. I don't know. David Goggins said something cool about this, but I don't remember what it exactly was. But the point is that recently I've really met some of them after 2 years of traveling and been hanging around with them. And I like to observe and learn from people, as you guys know. And one thing I realized, I was thinking like, okay, what is in common between all of these guys? And that is nothing is in common. All of them are weird and unique in their own way. Weird is not good or bad. Like weird is just, we're all weird in our own way. I guess I'm kind of weird with these fucking videos. Like I'm trying to share everything. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, everyone is weird and unique in their own way. And this point is important because you are probably watching a lot of gurus online and they tell you do this, do that, and it's just not true. There is not one way that works. All of my friends that do a lot of big, really cool shit are all different, doing things differently. One wakes up at 4 p.m., the other goes to bed not later than 9 p.m. Like there is just such a difference, but there is just such a big difference between all of them. Which means that don't take anything for gospel, like anything that you hear online. Try to figure out what works for you. Like whatever that is, it doesn't matter if someone says that's bad. If that works for you to work until 5 a.m., then do that. Like there is not one way. Like all of those guys that you probably want to be like or strive to be, they are all different in their own way, doing things differently, reacting to things differently, and they're just unique. So I wanted to share that with you to really put in your mind that don't try to be like anyone else or like listen to some guru and gospel and all of that shit. So that was kind of it about my personal life behind the scenes outside of the brand. I'm becoming a little bit of a machine, like I'm doing more cardio, so that is also really cool for me at least. Like I hate cardio, so I think it's cool that I'm becoming better at doing cardio. I'm starting to fight as well this week. I've always wanted to be fighting. One of my goals is to do one MMA fight and win. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you guys. I'm like a big UFC fan and nerd, but I always have been too stressed outside of other things in my life, like trying to figure things out and make it work and make money, that I never really felt like I should stress myself more with fighting in the gym. But now I feel like I'm in a position where I can, so I'm gonna be fighting and just doing more cardio. Like again, I want to be a functional machine, guys, so that is kind of something cool. I'm progressing there as well. Don't forget your physical. Like if you don't know where to start, go to the gym in life. Like it will just bring you a lot of structure. And I don't know, I'm not going to give you a motivational speech about why to go to the gym. But yeah, that's it for this week's Documenting the Journey. Hopefully you can learn anything from this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe I made you realize something. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Share everything that you're thinking, raw and unfiltered, like I do here. And then I'll see you guys next week.